Arizona State has won the Big 12 championship, and we got to talk about the ramifications for Kenny Dillingham Sun Devils, what this means for the college football playoff, where Iowa State goes from here, and how this is going to affect the rest of what is going to be an exciting college football Saturday filled with crowning champions. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, like this video so that you don't miss any of the reaction segments that we do for this show. We talk about college football 24/7, 365 over here. And off the rip, we have basically seen two teams punch their tickets to the college football playoff if the selection committee rankings hold, and I don't see why they would not. Boise State got a demonstrative win against UNLV to get to 11 wins with one of the best tailbacks in the country in one Ashton Janty, who went for over 200 yards once again, giving him damn near 2,500 for the season with at least one more game left where he could go get Barry Sanders' record of 2,629 yards rushing. Now, on that other side, we've got Arizona State, who goes from 3-9 last year, being decimated in the transfer portal, losing guys like Jalen Conyers to Texas Tech, Drew Pine to Missouri, Jaden Rashada to Georgia, and all Kenny Dillingham does is go get Marcus Arroyo and Brian Ward to help them put together what looks like the hottest football team in America based on what we've seen from the Sun Devils thus far, with one of the best tailbacks in America in one Cam Skattebo. Between Sam Levitt, Cam Skattebo, we've seen a lot of great football. But what was really impressive about this win is not just what Cam Skattebo was able to do first through three quarters. It's 170 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, 19 rushing touchdowns. Next one gives him the Arizona State record after spending his first couple of years at Sacramento State. Remarkably cool story. Sam Levitt also shows up, takes this thing by the reins, and is operating. But was doing this mostly with Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson, who was their best wide receiver going into this thing. He's in a sling. And he's not playing in this game against Iowa State. You got to feel good about that if you're Iowa State, because that's the deep threat. That's the guy you want to take away. Nope, didn't seem to matter because Xavier Guillory said, hey, look, I got it. I understand. We're going to go make this happen. So they were able to beat Iowa State and their umbrella defense. We're going to drop 8. We're going to make you deep and dunk us. And they were still able to go over the top when they need to go over the top. But what you're asking Arizona State to do in this instance is batter you with Cam Skattebo. And, you know, it looked like this was off and on, right? It was only a matter of time before he broke loose, and he did. He broke loose in the first half. They're up by 2 touchdowns, and it feels like Arizona State's got this thing well and truly in hand. And then to open the third quarter, the game just gets out of hand for Iowa State. You got 3 consecutive turnovers to start this thing, and Arizona State takes each one of those turnovers and goes and gets 7. It's really difficult to play football when you can't stop people from scoring and you're giving the ball up the way that Iowa State was. Uncharacteristic for this Matt Campbell team that had just 3 lost fumbles all season, had 2 in the third quarter alone, and a pick. Rocco Beck wants to have this game back. And more than that, John Haycock got to believe that just Marcus Arroyo had his number, because through the first 40 plays of the game, Arizona State led 38-10. And had damn near 400 yards offense, 386 yards offense on 40 plays. Easy math says they're averaging about 10 yards per play. No matter what Marcus Arroyo was drawing up, Sam Levitt, Cam Skattebo were able to operate with it. Now Brian Ward's got his defense absolutely humming. And this is an Arizona State team that has not lost a football game since October 19th when they lost by 10 points, 24-14 to Cincinnati in what was a really weird game for them. Regrouped and went about doing this every step of the way. Last 3 out of 4 wins for them have been against ranked opponents. It's a good football team. It's an 11-2 football team. They got their first Big 12 championship in their first season of the sport and this conference. And we're looking at an Iowa State team that was in a magic year. Let's not forget, this Iowa State team is the best Iowa State team that we have seen at least since 2020, maybe ever if we're talking about wins, okay? 2020, Brock Purdy, Breece Hall lead that team to the Fiesta Bowl. Breece Hall is unanimous All-American, a Heisman candidate himself. Brock Purdy ends up quarterbacking a team that goes to the Super Bowl 49ers after being Mr. Irrelevant, but also being a really outstanding player at Iowa State. And then this year, this Iowa State team, led by Rocco Beck, son of Anthony Beck, who is the head coach of St. Louis Battlehawks, they get to 10 wins in the regular season, get 10 wins, period, for the first time in school history. They still have an opportunity to get their 11th win in the bowl game that will follow. But this was a play-in game. And this is what makes the college football playoff so much fun in this first year. In the past, this Big 12 championship would have just been for the championship and maybe a bid to the New Year's Six Bowl because we only had 4 teams that could get selected in the college football playoff. Now, not only does the winner of this thing get to play in the college football playoff for the first time, meaning Iowa State or Arizona State is going to get in, they have an opportunity to get in and maybe have convinced the committee to put them in one of those 4 highest ranked conference champion spots that lead to a first round bye. Right now, feels like that's Boise State's. It's one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions once the SEC, Big Ten get done with crowning theirs. But I think Arizona State at least gave this committee something to think about. Are you ready to put Boise State in that spot, or would you like to see a team from a traditional Power 4 get that spot? The Mountain West, I maintain, is not as tough a league as the Big 12, which was balanced top to bottom. I think you got to take that into account. You had 4 teams that were tied for first place, and the way the tiebreakers worked out, you ended up with Iowa State and Arizona State in this thing, but you just as easily could have ended up with BYU and Colorado. And many people would tell you Colorado's a good football team. Many people would tell you they got the Heisman Trophy winner over there in Travis Hunter, and they had the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year in Shedeur Sanders, and they got the Defensive Player of the Year in Travis Hunter. Cam Skattebo, though, he deserves recognition as one of these guys that absolutely, positively, 100% needs to have his name mentioned as a Heisman candidate and needs to be making this trip to New York. I don't feel like we need to go that deep on it, but when you got a guy who's going for over 1,600 yards, like he had 1,400 going into this game by 1,398, and he's able to add 170 yards through the run game, battering people, Mr. Contact Balance, staying up on his feet, and what he's meant to this football program that has one of the 3 best turnarounds of the sport this year. You got to consider what that guy is going to do. Kenny Dillingham, also the perfect dude to be in this spot. He has been great about how he has wanted to approach being a head coach, a young guy. He and Dan Lanning come up together. Now it seems that both of those guys are going to be in the college football playoff. Maybe they get to coach against each other. 2 fiery dudes that really love their universities. Kenny Dillingham being able to be the guy at Arizona State to do this, be the first guy to do this, is living his dream. And he wanted to make his name one that's memorable. He wants his family's name to be memorable. And this is a sport that allows for such a thing. Now, how far can Arizona State go? Because it got to feel like you're playing with house money here. Or maybe you're that Sun Devil who's going, no, Mike Leach had it really correct here. Nobody needs to underestimate the magical powers of a Sun Devil. And I'm here for it. It's a party school. It's a great school. It's a lot of fun to watch. Really great journalism program. If the people that went to school there don't tell you this, I will. Say nothing of what Pat Tillman has meant to many of us in the sport, in the military, his sacrifice, what he has meant to just football in general. And then Arizona State's been damn good. I mean, before we saw Jaden Daniels win the Heisman at LSU, he is at Arizona State. Jaden Rashada might be the starting quarterback at Georgia next year. On a Georgia team's playing for an SEC championship, he was at Arizona State. They have been able to put dudes together. They've been able to go get guys. Like, I always wonder, what if Bijan Robinson had not gone to Texas, but gone to Arizona State? How much better would they be? And it's not the first time they've had great tailbacks, right? Certainly not the best first time that they have great players. And then I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Melquan Stovall, who also had a huge game, 4 catches, 91 yards. But this game was over 45-10 at the start of the 4th quarter. And I'm not even going to pretend that you were watching this game all the way through, because you ain't got to lie to me, Craig. You ain't got to lie to me. You're on to the SEC championship game, which kicks off this afternoon, where we are going to get to find out just how good Texas is, how good Georgia is, and we'll be talking about that here at the end. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about what Arizona State has achieved. Iowa State have nothing to feel shameful about. I know this game got out of hand for you in the second half. Remarkable season for you. And really, I got to tell you, the Big 12 was the most fun league to watch this year, and this game is an example as to why. 2 teams that weren't picked to win this thing. Arizona State, who was picked to finish dead damn last in the preseason poll, flips the script entirely and wins the conference championship. Hey, maybe Arizona State should have joined the Big 12 a whole lot sooner. All right, if you like the show, please hit that subscribe button. Remember to ring the bell, and we'll see y'all later on today as we got plenty of football to talk about.